Nancy Mace did not receive President Trump's endorsement for the South Carolina governor race. In fact, he endorsed her opponent. Are we surprised? Did you think Nancy Mace was truly going to get endorsed by President Trump after all of the things that she said about him and accused him of in early 2021 and into 2022? Nancy Mace was never MAGA. I never liked her. Remember, right after January 6th, she was a freshman Congresswoman. She was a former 2016 Trump campaign staffer, and she was, well, pretty vocal on the Republican side against Donald Trump and his, well, complicitness in January 6th, in the big bad riots. After all the things we know now, she still today has not retracted, changed course on anything she said back then. I think she just thinks that we're all stupid and we'll all forget. MAGA never forgets. She called the events heartbreaking, devastating, and not who we are. She described herself as being pissed off and that she's in lockdown and afraid for her life. She stated that Trump's entire legacy was wiped out in just a few short hours. She said Donald Trump's entire legacy was wiped out and that we've got to start over and rebuild our party. And she meant without Donald Trump. And look where we are now. This has nothing to do with her calling for transparency in the Epstein files, by the way. That's not why President Trump endorsed her opponent. President Trump endorsed her opponent back in 2022 in her primary, but she won. She said the rhetoric leading up to the event of January 6th had real consequences, that people died, and we have to hold the president accountable. Nancy Mace was blaming the president. She never retracted that statement after everything we found out now about the FBI and the government's involvement in the incitement of January 6th, after all the pardons had been issued, which she was against, after everything was exposed. Nancy Pelosi, the National Guard, Nancy Mace has not come out and retracted or changed directions. No, she condemned the violence, but she didn't vote to impeach President Trump. Instead, she cited something like the process was rushed and she preferred some censure, which she just wasn't making sense, in my opinion. But obviously, Trump supporters and MAGA, they lashed out at her. She changed course as far as supporting President Trump, but not disavowing everything that she previously said about him and the occurrence, everything that happened around January 6th. Why? Because Nancy Mace is like most of these members of Congress, who's self-serving. She puts on an act. She's another wannabe social media influencer, shows up to votes in pajamas like she's rushing to DC to do God's work, and she's not. She's just another phony. You listen to her, and now she wants to talk about this Epstein nonsense and the victims, which none of running to the DOJ to seek justice anyway. She's a fake, not to mention she was polling horrifically in South Carolina for her race for governor. So Donald Trump doesn't have a habit of endorsing losers, especially in this stage of the game. So no, the left will tell you, the Trump-hating right will tell you that this is because Nancy Mace demanded transparency in the Epstein files. It's all there. And that's not the reason. It's because she's a crappy candidate, she's a crappy congresswoman, and Donald Trump doesn't forget all the things she said about him. Donald Trump's entire legacy was wiped out in a few hours, Nancy Mace said, back after January 6th. Nancy Mace is just another individual who destroyed her political career because she thought getting on the bandwagon of this nonsense narratives were the way to go. She's not MAGA. She never will be. And I hope she loses her primary tremendously in South Carolina.